And then in this like dark night of the soul moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to book myself an official human design reading and see if there's anything there. And it like literally transformed my life. For the first time, I realized like I wasn't broken. I was just operating against my mechanics.
Welcome to the Angelic Frequency Podcast. We are your hosts, Cristina Aroche.
I'm Luisa Vélez, and today, this was such a fun, practical episode. So we had Nati Chen. She's a human design expert. So for anyone listening, you might, or watching, stop, go online, find your human design type, and then come back here, because it's going to be really helpful as we talk about things during the episode. It's all about human design. So if you know your type, you're going to get so much out of the episode. It was super practical and fun. And another tip, if you want to watch, this is a visual episode. For the first time, we shared things on screen, so you may want to watch instead of just listen to this one. But it's so fun, all about human design. Let's dive in.
Hi, Natty. Welcome to the podcast. We are so excited to have you joining us today. Welcome.
Hi, Louisa. Hi, Cristina.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited. This is such an interesting topic. Just personally, we've talked about this before in the podcast. So I was thrilled to just stumble upon you and that we were able to make this happen. We're going to talk all about human design, which is, I can't wait to dive in. But for those people that perhaps don't know about you and even what human design is, maybe let's just start at the beginning and just, can you please tell us, first of all, who you are and what you do?
Sounds good. Thanks, Louisa. So, hi, everyone. My name is Natty. I'm a certified human design guide and well-being coach with the Growth Compass. And I launched the Growth Compass to guide people back to the intelligence of their own bodies. So I believe that when we trust our body's inner wisdom, that's what unlocks a life of true authenticity, purpose, and love. And so I work with people who may feel overwhelmed, stuck, exhausted, disconnected, or people who are just curious to know themselves better. I offer services to support and empower you. And the modality that I use is, of course, human design, which is an amazing, incredible, powerful, spiritual, metaphysical framework that blends both ancient wisdom and modern science to help you reconnect with your true self, and so that you can cultivate a life that feels successful. So yeah, it's just super excited to share some of the magic of human design with both of you today.
There's so much to unpack right
so
there.
Excited.
Yeah, so excited. There's so much to unpack. Where does human design come from? Like, as a practice, as an art, like, what is it?
Great question, Louisa. So human design is actually a blend of multiple different frameworks, some of which I'm sure you've heard of before, like astrology, the chakras, the Chinese I Ching, which is this ancient divination practice, and also the Judaic tree of life. So essentially, it captures and blends components of all of these ancient spiritual systems into one cohesive map. And its origins are a little bit mystical. So it came from this guy. He's actually Canadian. Before he renamed himself, his name was Robert Krakauer, and he was a Canadian. I think he was like into music production, like was not spiritual at all. And then one day, sometime in the 80s, when he was in Ibiza, Spain, he had this like crazy spiritual experience where he like downloaded most of the system. And then he changed his name to Ra Uruhu and then spent the rest of his life transmitting it. So yeah, it's a little bit mysterious,
so cool.
but so
I got
cool.
chills when you were saying that part of how he changed his name. Like that's so interesting how it came through like that.
Yeah, and he called the transmission the voice. He said like he just like went into this trance and he heard this voice saying like, "Are you ready to work?" So yeah, pretty intense.
So it's been around since around the 80s then, right?
Yes, that's
It
right.
sounds like, okay. Because I've noticed that in recent years, because I discovered human design, I think in 2021. or 22. I can't remember. I think 21. And it just seems like it's picked up a lot in recent years. When did you discover human design? I'm curious to hear your history of like how you came across human design and what inspired you to become a human design reader.
Yeah, so it's funny because on paper, my background is very different than what I do now. Because I actually come from the world of science and medical animation.
Mhm.
So, being the
Wow.
daughter of Asian immigrants, of course, I had this like very stereotypical drive to like bring honor to my family, right? And I thought the only way to be successful was to work harder than everyone else. I spent years building this medical animation company and just like super determined to hustle my way to success. And I actually discovered human design right in the beginning of launching my company, and honestly, like I was so triggered. I hated it. I found out I was a projector, and because when you do a simple Google search, like it just tells you superficial stuff, right? So
Yeah.
found out I was a projector. I had limited energy. I have to wait for the invitation. And I was like, absolutely not. Like, I'm not here to wait for anybody. I'm here to like make it in life, and I'm going to, make my way. So I went back into the grind. I went back into the hustle. But of course, the universe has a way of correcting us.
Yep.
A couple years later, I just hit a wall. Like I think I worked 34 days in a row, no breaks, completely crashed and burned, so sick, so depressed. And then in this like dark night of the soul moment, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to book myself an official human design reading and see if there's anything there. And it like literally transformed my life. For the first time, I realized like I wasn't broken. I was just operating against my mechanics. And I was just suffering from all of this external conditioning and programming and just so out of alignment with my true gifts and who I really was. And so over the past couple of years, I think around the same time as you, Cristina, I discovered it in 2021, 2022. So over the past 3 to 4 years, I've been really using this framework to work on myself and transform myself. And it's been so empowering for me that I decided to transition away from my medical animation company into doing this full time so that I can empower other people as well.
That's amazing. I love hearing that story so much. And I also really love that you're a projector because I feel like I can really absorb some wisdom from you since I'm also a projector. And so, since we're talking about that, how about you give us a little breakdown in terms of, for people who are like, projector, what does that even mean? Like, what are I'm not even sure what they're called, like types or whatever you call them. Like, so why don't you give us a high level breakdown of when you look at human design? What are these different categories and kind of go from there?
For sure. Yeah, I'm happy to do that. So, just as an overview, so based on your birth information, human design will generate a map, what we call a body graph. And this is like a powerful multidimensional map of your energy. And it reveals so much about your personality, your purpose. It's like an owner's manual. And on the very highest level, this map will categorize you into one of four types based on your aura. So the question is like, what is a type? The type is basically your aura, how your energy emanates and interacts with the world. So there's four main types. And of course, like, yours. So you're a projector and then Louisa's a generator. And just briefly going over the other two types as well, there's also a manifestor type and a reflector type. So the generator, this is you, Louisa. So generators are blessed with a wealth of life force energy and power. You're like a living battery pack. Your aura is open, warm, it's enveloping, it's very yin, it draws life to you so that you can respond to it. And that's really the key to harnessing and leveraging your power is attuning to your physical felt sense.
Okay.
And yeah, the generator gift is to build and to create and to find work that they love.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Cristina and me. So we are the projectors. So projectors, our aura is penetrating and absorbing. It's like an X-ray beam, just like really sharp and fine-tuned. really here to penetrate deeply into other people and understand them. So the projector gift is our insight and our awareness. We're here to really be able to see, understand people. And then because of that, we're natural mediators, guides, managers, coordinators, that sort of thing. And then next we have the manifestors. So manifestors, they have a closed and repelling aura. They're like a knife. They're really here to break ceilings, initiate and spark change. And they have a closed aura that shields them from impact so that they can really like spark change and change the world. And then finally, we have the reflectors. Reflectors are incredibly rare. They're, I think, only 1% of the world. Their body graph is completely white. They're like living mirrors. And they are fluid beings who are here to reflect the health of the community. So, yeah, that's a quick rundown.
That's
That
so
last one,
cool.
that's a very interesting one, by the way. Have you come across a lot of those
Yeah.
in your work?
Yeah. So I've actually only met 3 projectors in my life, 2 of them as clients, and one of them is actually my husband's best friend.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and I was like shocked when I discovered that because I always thought that they were like twins, you know, like my husband's name is Carson and his best friend, the reflector, his name is Ricky. And Ricky and Carson, they're like 2 peas in a pod, right?
Mhm.
They talk the same, they act the same when they're together. And I always just thought they were so similar. And then I realized like it's because Ricky is a reflector. Like when he's around Carson, he's like a mirror to Carson. He's reflecting him. And so it's really interesting to see the way he works because his expression of his nature is so fluid and ever changing. So, yeah.
So interesting, like walking through life, like seeing people through that lens, it's just naturally will help you like click and understand what they're all about, what they're doing, how they're working. That's super interesting. And because I find this resonates a little bit more with me. Like when we talk about astrology, for example, is like I'm a Gemini. Like there's millions of us in the world. Like whatever the horoscope says is like that applies to that. That's so generic. It could mean anything. I can make it relate to me in so many different ways. But as you walk us through our profiles or our types, is like that makes that I feel like that's like me. Yes, that makes sense. I feel like we are like that and that's how we work together. So it's so interesting to see how that truly connects with the way we operate in the world in such a tangible way, which feels more specific to a person than just like, millions and put millions of people and whatever the where the planets are and what they're doing. Anyways, so I know there's some of that in here. I just feel like it's a more cohesive, holistic way of seeing people. So I find it super interesting.
Yeah, totally, Louisa. What I love about human design is even though it's like a spiritual framework, we talk about the planets, we talk about the sun and the stars, but ultimately it's so practical, right?
Mhm.
It's not airy fairy. Like these are actual, tangible insights that you can
Mhm.
use in your daily life, the way you conserve your energy, the way you eat, the way you sleep, the way you interact with
Right.
people. So, yeah, it's just like so grounded that
Mhm.
way, which is why I feel like it's actually empowering and useful for people.
Yeah, I totally feel it. Like there's only so much we can do with the retrograde this or that. It's like, well, what do I do? How do I fix it? How do I get out of it? So yeah, I love that so much about human design. It's great.
Yeah, I think for me, it was very validating. I think, Nadia, as you were saying, when you first found out projector and like what the things are and you were triggered, I think for me, I was like, thank God I don't have to work 8 hours straight in a day. I can just really be like, okay, 4 hours, focus work and be done. And like, it was almost like giving myself finally having the permission to be like, oh, like, it's okay, like you're okay. There's nothing wrong with you if you get burnt out from working 8 hours straight constantly every single day. Like I can't do that. And also I think for me it also gave me permission to like create spaciousness in my schedule the way that I've always wanted to, but thought maybe I couldn't or I shouldn't, like I should be working, I feel like human design and knowing, especially as a projector, it just gave me so much of that like validation and permission to just do the things the way I have always internally wanted to, but thought there was something wrong with me, or it wasn't the way to success, so to speak.
100%. And yeah, I love that. I really think that when people dive deep into human design and understand their map, at the end of the day, it's just a giant permission slip to be yourself, right? The benefits of human design is just moving from resistance to flow, because we've been conditioned from a really young age that there is one version of success, one formula to, reaching our goals. And a lot of us end up thinking that there's something wrong with us or we're broken. What I love about human design is it celebrates our uniqueness, our diversity, and our differences, right? So, yeah, so cool that you have just used it as a way to like let yourself be fully in yourself. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's been amazing in that sense. So when it comes to, and I'm thinking about this from a perspective of someone who's new to human design and just hearing about it and is like, okay, like I want to find out what I am, like what would you suggest? I guess first let's talk about how people can start and just, know what their type is, but then also what do you recommend people kind of focus on? Because I know that human design can also feel very overwhelming because when you look at the body graph, there's all these things and you're like, what? Like, what does this mean?
What am I
Where do
looking
I
at?
look? Yeah, what am I looking at? So how would you guys, someone who's beginner and just starting out, and where would you suggest that they also start to just dive into what part of themselves, I guess, if that makes sense?
Yeah, great question. You're totally right. Human design, when you first get into it, can be so overwhelming because it's like this weird looking diagram. There's all these numbers, there's all these lines. It's like, where do I even start, right? So, the one thing I always like to emphasize to people new to human design or, in the thick of it is like that it's not a mental exercise. It's not really about studying your chart or memorizing anything. It's an embodiment practice. It's really about helping you move away from making decisions with your mind and trying to figure out life from your neck up and dropping into your body. So, the best place to start really is just with the basics, right? Understanding what your type is, what your aura is. With every type, it's going to come with a set of practical tips and strategies. So, for example, Louisa, you're a generator. For generators, the key to harnessing your wisdom and your power is attuning to your physical sense, your physical felt sensations, right? And then the other thing to know about generators is you're really here to spend your energy doing what you love. It's so important. Most generators, because they're so powerful and they have so much energy, they've been conditioned to spend their energy doing what they think other people need or being essentially a slave to society, right?
People pleaser. I'm a
So,
recovering people pleaser. So yeah, you know all
yeah,
about that.
totally. So it's really about turning inwards and looking within for a generator. And then the next step is to understand your authority. So each of us has a center within us that comprises our inner compass, what we can reliably use and access to make decisions that are in alignment with our true nature. I was just again looking at your guys' charts so we can use them as examples to the listeners.
Totally
So
can. Why
Christine,
don't we just pull them up and just I find that for me it was the most useful way to kind of understand what you were talking about, was just literally walking through the chart. So we might as well just share it.
yeah, let's do it. So I'm going to go
Yeah.
ahead and share my screen.
Amazing. And for those of you who are listening in, I know a lot of people listen to this on through audio. Definitely go to YouTube because YouTube is where you're going to see the visual. But for now, I think listening in, you'll still get the gist of it. But if you
Right.
want to see the visual, go check out the YouTube version of this so that you can actually see what Natty is showing us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so I've shared the chart on the screen here. So what we're looking at is Christina's beautiful body graph. And as you can see, she has 2 centers that are filled in, right? And then 7 centers that are white. So wherever we have centers that are filled in, we call them defined centers. And this is where your energy is strong. It's consistent, it's reliable. This is how your energy is radiating outwards and impacting other people. And then on the flip side, wherever you have a white center, these are like windows. This is where you're taking in energy from other people. This is where you're sensitive. This is where you're inconsistent. There, with open centers, we always have the risk of, feeling insecure in those areas. But actually, in a healthy state, this is where we hold profound wisdom and empathy, because this is where we can really understand the other person. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just wanted to quickly orient you to the colors in the body graph. And then going back to your authority, Cristina. So as you can see, you have the brown triangle on the left colored in, right? So this is what's called the splenic center. And this is the center of body awareness and intuition. So for you, Cristina, when you're going through life, what's most empowering for you when making decisions is to always go back to your intuition. And the intuition acts like a spontaneous light whisper or sudden knowing. So I don't know if you relate to that at all, but that is really
Totally.
how your body is talking to you.
Even though it says like, yes, I've seen her, and it's like, yeah, 1,000%. Yeah.
That's what I find scary accurate. Like, you're literally a channeler. Like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
tuning into your intuition and guides and angels. Like, that's your life's work, and that's literally what you do and who you are. That's so interesting. It's so accurate.
Yeah, it's absolutely extraordinary, Cristina, because not only is your spleen the center of intuition, your authority, but if I look at your personality sun, it is in the gate of intuition, right?
Oh, wow.
So like it really is this light that you're here to bring to the world, is your ability to have this spontaneous knowing in the moment, this wisdom that you're here to share. Oh, yeah, super cool to see that in the chart.
Cool. I love it. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that wasn't too much information, right? So I always say for beginners, the first thing is figure out what type you are and then figure out where your authority is. And then with those, you can already start to implement the wisdom into your daily life. And there's all sorts of free websites out there. You can just do a simple Google, right? Like human design, free body graph or free chart. And enter in your birth details. I will say it is very important to have an accurate birth time, because even a couple minutes can change the details of your body graph, and significantly too. Like you can go from projector to a generator, which is totally different, right? So it's so important. Yeah, I always say if you can check out your birth certificate so that you have absolute certainty that it's the accurate birth time. Yeah.
Yeah. Wild how that minutes can make such a big difference. That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's because human design, it's an astrological system. So it's based on the positions of the sun and the planets. And so for some body graphs, for example, for mine, the chart actually doesn't change for 2 hours, right? Because it just so happens that the planets are in the same space for those 2 hours. There isn't any significant movement into a different gate. But for some people, if they're born on the edge, right, then it can make a huge difference.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
What are some other interesting things? There's so many things that you can read into this. What are some other, so what's your type? What's your authority? I remember reading that the Incarnation cross stood out to me, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah. Okay. Let's dive deeper. So yeah, if you're, wanting to just start out, I would say type an authority is where to begin. If you want to dive deeper, I mean, there's so many layers, right? One of the most fascinating aspects of human design is what we call the Incarnation cross. And this is a fancy term for basically your life purpose.
Love it.
So our Incarnation cross is made out of the sun and earth activations on both your conscious side and your unconscious side. So for those of you looking on YouTube, you can see for Cristina, it's the top 4 numbers in the body graph. So 57, 51, 62, and 61. And together, the themes of those 4 gates are going to create the dominant life theme or purpose in Cristina's life. So in some free charts, they'll actually write it out for you. So in this program that I'm using here, it sort of labels it on the right. So Cristina is born on the left angle across to the clarion. So a clarion is another word for messenger. So again, like I feel like this is really
very
in
accurate.
alignment. Yeah, it's
not what I do at all in my daily life.
right. Yeah. So yeah, part of who you are, a huge part of who you are, is to really be a messenger. Specifically, you're here to intuit, right, through your spontaneous intuition, the mysteries of life. You're here to name the mysteries of life. In a way, yeah, in a way that can help people adapt to change and shock and difficulties and challenges, right? So that was just like a quick keynoting of your top 4 gates. But so I also do life purpose readings, and during the life purpose readings, we dive deep into like all the nuances of your specific activations and the qualities of each gate that you have. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I love it so much. It's just such an interesting tool in our toolkit to, if you're doing spiritual work, if you are being called to do something, we're always wondering, like, what is my life purpose? What am I here to do? So this is just another means to an end, I guess, but super interesting and again, practical and, as you can see, scary accurate too. Cristina is, for example, what she's here to do.
Right path, thank
Yeah,
goodness.
you're on the right path. You're making it happen. But it's just so interesting for anyone out there curious, just as you can tune in using an oracle, using your intuition, opening up your clairs, whatever. But this I see like, yeah, a map that you can navigate, that can help you navigate certain things and understand yourself so much better, understand how you can work with others, and how can you make the most out of your strengths, and how can you just
because it's all about living in alignment, like like Natty was saying, I feel like. And on that theme, or on that topic, I have a question about the not self theme, because I feel like that maybe is a good indicator from what I've learned of like you're in alignment, you're not in alignment. So can we talk about the not self theme when people, if they're doing their charts or know what it is? Because I know once I learned that, and I think it's for projectors, right? All projectors, it's bitterness. It's based on your type, I guess. So once I learned that, and then I became more aware of when I do feel bitter and when that starts to come in. So can we speak to that a little bit? And not necessarily specifically to mine, but just in general for all the different types. What does the not self theme mean? And then when you do notice yourself in the not self, how can you bring yourself back into alignment? I think that's my biggest question.
Yeah, that's a great question, Cristina. And it's like really fundamental to working with your human design. So, part of understanding the aura type that you have, whether you're a projector, reflector, manifestor, or generator, is understanding these signposts. For each type, there's like a successful signpost, and then there's what we call a not self theme, or kind of this signal to you that, maybe you're out of alignment and you need to recalibrate. So I'll just quickly run through the 4 for the types. So starting with the projectors, the signature or the sort of sign that you are in alignment is called success. And more specifically, that's pointing to recognition. So when a projector feels like they're really valued and seen and appreciated, there's nothing that feels more yummy and successful, right? So that's like the positive signpost. On the other hand, if a projector feels like they are invisible, that they're doing so much work and no one's seeing them, if they feel like they're being undervalued, they can feel extremely bitter. And that would be a very strong indicator that maybe you're not around the right people and you're not implementing your strategy. Again, with each type, there's a strategy that can help you stay in alignment. So for projectors, it's waiting for recognition and invitation, making sure that you are around people who actually see you, who actually value you, so that you can put your gifts to good use. Does that resonate with your experience, Cristina?
Totally. Yeah. And through that process, I have been more aware just in terms of like not like giving guidance to just anyone, like especially like my husband, for
Yes.
example. It's like, do you want to hear what I think about this or no? But like, like asking in that way, because I know that if I just am sharing, but he's not open, then it'll create that exact thing because he's not, in that recognition phase. So it's kind of like, I've understood that and I've used that in different contexts, but yeah, 1,000% resonates.
Yeah, and I think that's like such a perfect example. Like it's not only is it being around the right people, but also the right timing, right? Like sometimes people are going to be open to your insight and your awareness, and other times they're going to be closed off. So yeah, really getting a sense of that can help a lot.
But for us to be able to understand how we relate to each other, and I hope I'm giving you enough praise in life in general, Cristina, but if not, there's a mental note for me to like be very mindful of, like just keep encouraging and telling her how amazing and wonderful she is and all the things that she's doing all the time, blah, blah, blah. But then that can help us relate to people and our friends and loved ones in such a different, powerful way when we understand what makes us tick, what we like, what we don't like, how we thrive, and how do we get the best out of someone and our relationships, right? So I think it's super interesting when we learn about this stuff, of course, supported by our intuition and all of our clairs and things like that. But how can we not only self-awareness, but also how do we relate to the world and others around us to succeed and just to, make the best out of who we are?
100%. I think one of the beautiful things about human design is it not only helps us understand ourselves and connect to ourselves, but it also helps us improve our relationships. And later, I'll be giving you guys a taste of that because one of the kinds of readings that I do is a relationship reading. So, this is where I overlay two people's charts on top of each other. And you can see exactly where the connection is, like where is the spark, right? Where is the mutual admiration? And potentially, where is the spiritual work? Where is the compromises and the dominance? And, people always ask me, like, is there ever like a bad combination or like a really good combination? I would say with each of these relationship charts, there's always going to be lightness and darkness, right? Like, because so it's just kind of like a really beautiful thing to see how you connect with someone and celebrate what makes you connected and also just be aware of what potential challenges you might need to work through.
Right. So important.
Yeah.
So important to understand that.
So good.
Yeah, I wanted to jump over to Louisa's for a second because we were talking about Cristina and
Right.
her not self theme, right, which is bitterness.
Yeah. That's myself. Frustration.
Yeah.
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 Yes.
Yes. So yeah, for Louisa and all the generators out there, the signposts are the signature is satisfaction and the not self theme is frustration. So as generators, when you are in alignment with your body's physical sensations, right? When you are responding to your body's yeses, you're going to find yourself incredibly satisfied doing the work that brings you so much pleasure. Like a generator is the happiest when they're able to find what they really love and then spend energy doing it because they have so much power to use. On the other hand, when they are making decisions from the mind and maybe forcing themselves to do something that their body is saying no to, that's when you're going to feel like you hit a wall, right? You're going to feel incredibly frustrated. It's going to feel like you have no energy, nothing's happening, so many obstacles. So yeah, whenever you feel frustrated, it could be a good sign to recalibrate and check in with your body. Like, is this something that's correct for me or not?
So interesting. Yes, that's absolutely accurate. And I mean, I guess every generator out there could maybe relate to this. It's just when I'm doing soul work, when I'm doing something related to this stuff that we do together with Cristina, I have endless energy. I can, I want to do it. It doesn't feel like work. I want to do more. It's like, yes, yes, give me more. And then whenever I'm doing something that's probably not more of the, you know, regular life type of stuff. I'm like, oh, I can't bring myself to do this.
Yeah.
But understanding that about myself, it's such an interesting, compass to guide me and like, okay, this is aligned. This is important work. And this is where I should spend the time, and not punish yourself so much when you're like, are drained or don't feel energy or get frustrated. It's like, it's not that it's wrong, but it's just, stuff that is not necessarily in alignment with this other stuff. But even that self-awareness, it makes so much sense with how I feel and who I am. And the sensory stuff, that's even my most prominent, like Claire, I did like physical sensations. That's how I tune into like spirit and things. And so even at that level, there's such an interesting correlation that would be my clairsentience, would be my most like opened or developed, like Claire, like even that is so interesting to me. It's just very, scary accurate.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point, Louisa, which is that like our goal in life is not to always be satisfied, right? Like it's
Mhm.
actually quite normal for you to feel occasionally frustrated because these are signposts.
Mhm.
They're here to help you realign. So, not to feel like, oh no, I shouldn't be ever frustrated. I should only be satisfied. That's impossible. And so, yeah, to understand that these signposts, they're just tools, right? Tools for your awareness.
Yeah.
I feel bitter at least once a day. And I kind of use it as a way to like, realign myself and recalibrate. So, yeah, that's a really good point.
Super, super
That's
interesting.
amazing. Yeah. So let's talk about the other two, not self-themed, so that, for I think Manifestor and Reflector, just to cover those. And then is there anything, and then also as a follow-up to that, if there's anything that you recommend as like a quick tip or something that when we do find ourselves in bitterness or frustration or anything else, is there like a way that you bring yourself back? Is it a question that you ask yourself? Is it something that you reflect on or journal on? Or like, how would you, kind of help guide someone to come back to their alignment? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll answer that bit first. So
Okay.
looking at yours, Louisa, because you're a generator, right? And you're not self-theme as frustration. So whenever you're frustrated, you go back to your authority. So for you, it's the sacral
Mm.
center, right? So whenever you feel frustrated, it means that there's some sort of miscommunication between what you're doing and what your body wants to do.
Mhm.
So, whenever a generator feels frustrated, it's an invitation to check in, to tune in, be mindful.
Mhm.
Am I spending energy doing what I love? Is this work lighting me up? Those are helpful questions to ask yourself
Mhm.
whenever you're feeling frustrated. And then, Christina, as a projector, whenever you're feeling bitter, that's a good opportunity to tune back into your intuition. What's your intuition telling you? And
Mm.
more than that, because you're a projector, projectors are naturally very interpersonal. So, am I around the right people? Right? Are these
Mm.
people nourishing me? Are they recognizing me? Are they seeing me? Or am I inserting myself in a situation where my insight is not valued?
Right. That's huge. That's
Interesting.
actually
It's
so huge
huge.
because I feel like it speaks to like my past of like always feeling like I didn't fit in and trying to fit in with the right people
Mm-hmm.
and blah blah blah, and it's just like, kind of growing up in that way. So I can see now how, like a misaligned way, obviously as a teenager and all that, but then it's like growing and then being in a space of like, yeah, it's okay, like I don't need to fit into the different groups and whatever. It's like I can just be me, and finding acceptance in that. I think that's been a huge part of my growth too. So that's super fascinating. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's empowering also to recognize, like, as a projector, we are designed to be seen. And so
Yeah.
if you're not being seen, it just means that you're not around the right people, or it's not the right time, right? It doesn't
Mm,
mean that you're going to be invisible for the rest of your life or you have no value.
right.
It's just pointing to maybe the wrong context. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then really quickly, just the for those of you listening who are the other two types. So a manifestor, these are the independent visionaries who are here to initiate and spark change, right? And so because they have a closed aura that shields them from influence, they may find themselves very, very sensitive to people controlling them. Manifestors have a deep-seated need to be independent and free.
Mm.
And so for them, the strategy is to inform, which is to over communicate. Oftentimes they act so fast, they don't actually communicate what they're doing. And so when it affects other people, it can really turn them off. Like, um, and and for manifestors, the signature versus not self theme is peace versus anger.
Mm.
So when a manifestor has the freedom to do what they want, because they usually have a very good idea of what they want to do and they're not blocked, they can feel incredibly peaceful. On the flip side, when they're not telling people what they're going to do and then they run into obstacles or rejection or isolation, they can feel incredibly angry. So whenever a manifestor feels angry, that's a sign that, hey, maybe I didn't communicate my intentions to other people, or maybe I'm around the wrong people. So that's a really helpful signpost for them.
Amazing. That's very helpful for me because both of my daughters are manifestors. So when you said they don't want to be controlled, I was like, oh, okay, good to know. I mean, they're little, and so it's like, the layer upon layer, like toddler doesn't want to be controlled, and on top of that, she's a manifestor, so it's just like extra doesn't want to be controlled. So, anyways, just as you were saying, I was like, okay, noted, especially as they grow up.
But interesting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think you bring up a really good point, which is that, like, knowing your children's human design can be so helpful to understanding how they're wired to interact with the world and to cultivate like more success in your relationship with them. So yeah, I would say, like, wow, like two manifestor daughters, like, you have powerful children. They're going to impact the world, and they're going to want to feel free doing so, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, one tip I can give you is, instead of framing things as commands, like, do this, do that,
Like put
it
your
can be,
shoes on or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, which, sometimes is necessary as a
Right.
parent. Like, I'm not,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Like, sometimes it's necessary, but it can also be helpful to sort of state what needs to be done. So I have a
Mm.
friend who's a close friend of mine who's a manifestor, and he's shared with me that it's much more peaceful and harmonious when his significant other says, like, hey, the trash needs to be taken out, or, the floor is messy. And then he, as a manifestor, can then initiate and be like, okay, I'll take out the trash or I'll sweep the floor.
Oh, I see. So instead of being like, can you take out the trash, please? It's like just the trash needs to be taken out, like in that sense, right?
Yes,
That's what you're saying?
exactly.
Okay.
Like stating the conditions.
Not a command.
Exactly. And then that gives them
Oh,
even that little micro freedom, right? To then
yeah.
take initiative and initiate, because that's really what they're designed to do. And
Oh
what's
my
what,
gosh.
yeah. So it
That's
can be
so
helpful.
helpful. I'm already thinking like, okay, instead of saying, can you please put your shoes on? I'll be like, we need to put our shoes on to go outside or something. Oh,
Yes,
that's so
yes,
awesome. Love
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
That's when this becomes such a
Yeah.
powerful tool, when we
Yeah.
learn to, how to interact with others and harness, the best of each other. This is so cool.
So cool. I love it. Yeah. Okay,
So
and let's
fun,
talk about
right?
the last one, the reflector, and then would love to hear about the interlay between Louisa and I, because I already
Yeah.
seeing her chart, I'm like, wait, it's already looking very similar, except for like the one, so
Yeah.
I would love to hear a little bit about that. So yeah, let's cover reflector and then move on to that part.
Sounds good. Yeah, so reflectors, they're the living mirrors, right? So their body graph is completely white. All
Wow.
of their centers are open, windows to the world. They're taking everything in. But actually, because of that, they're also incredibly resilient. The energy goes in and it leaves, kind of like a nonstick pan, right? Where nothing sticks. And so they have the capacity to really take people in without being so affected by them. And so they have what we call like a Teflon aura. It's kind of like this non-stick aura that samples the diversity of the world. And for a reflector, they're really here to be surprised and delight in the differences of life. So for reflector, the signature for them is surprise. When they're able to be in environments where people are authentic and real, because as a reflector, that's their gift. They can really pick up on if someone's being fake. They feel really empowered and delighted because they're really magnifying the health of the people and the environment around them. So that when they're around healthy environments, healthy people, they can feel so good. And they can be natural facilitators, like group facilitators. On the other hand, if they find themselves in environments where people are toxic, people are competitive from like a scarcity mindset, they can feel incredibly disappointed and just so jaded and wary. And so, yeah, for reflectors, all about really being able to curate the environment you're around because they're just so sensitive. They're like canaries in a coal mine. So, yeah.
Makes sense. Cool.
Yeah,
I love
it's pretty
that.
incredible.
So informative. Thank you for sharing that.
No problem. Okay, so we jump into your relationship chart?
Yes,
Yay,
please.
let's see it.
Yeah, so immediately when I'm just looking at your individual charts, you can see right away that both of you guys are very, very open, right? I'm just flipping in between your charts.
Right.
So both of you only have a single channel and 2 centers defined and 7 centers that are open. So what that means is for both of you, you're naturally very sensitive, empathetic people, taking people in. But the difference is in where you have your centers defined and the differences in the channel. So I'm going to talk about your differences first, and then I'm going to talk about how you guys overlay. Okay. So looking at Louisa first, so we talked about how she's a sacral generator, right? She has this natural wealth of life force energy within her. And not only that, her channel is called the channel of concentration, a design of determination, linking the gate of the mountain or stillness with the gate of focus. So Louisa has this gift of bringing a frequency of determination and focus to anything that she does, and also to the people around her. So she has this ability to really focus on the details and get things done. And she can really be unstoppable when she's in that space.
I've seen that.
Love it.
Yeah, so that is Louisa, right? And then now looking at Cristina, you have a channel between your root and your spleen. And this channel is called the channel of transformation, a design of being driven. This is linking the gate of ambition with the gate of continuity. And what this means is you are someone who's very ambitious and naturally driven to rise, achieve, and transform your life materially, but also spiritually. This is a very communal channel. This is a very tribal channel. This is all about transforming hard work into success so then you can then be generous and support the people that you care about. With this channel, it's all about having the intuition to know what can be transformed, what can be changed, and also, especially with you as a projector as well, the right people to do the transformation with. So yeah, that's just like a quick overview of your individual uniqueness and your strengths. And you can see for both of you, I talked about your drive and your motivation, right? And that's because both of you have a defined root center. The root center is a center of physical motivation, stress, adrenaline. It's associated with our adrenal glands or cortisol. Because both of you have it defined, both of you are naturally very driven people. So together, you can really be a power couple. Just like so much drive to succeed, to evolve, to make things better, to focus, right? So that's like one thing that immediately stood out to me. So I'm going to pause there for a second and see if this is resonating so far.
Oh,
So much.
absolutely. Yeah, so much.
So good.
So
I
much.
love it. And it also just feels so like, yes, like it just, I don't know. It just very validating, I feel like,
Yeah,
just,
totally.
yeah.
Totally resonating. You're describing us. You know us more than we know ourselves.
Beautiful. Yeah. And then, okay, now we're moving on to the
Oh,
relationship
look
chart.
at
So
that
again,
beautiful,
Whoa.
colorful. For those of you listening,
yeah.
this just lit up in different colors and changed completely. This is amazing.
Yeah. So what's really cool about a relationship chart, it's literally an overlay of the two of you together, right? So imagine if two of you are on separate pieces of paper and I'm just taking those two pieces of paper and I'm overlaying them on top of each other.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we see here. And Cristina, all of your activations are represented in the blue. And Louisa, all of your activations are represented in the green. So you can start to see how there are channels where Cristina brings in one half of the channel, right, with the blue. And then Louisa brings in the other half of the channel with the green. And together you form a complete channel, right?
Love it.
So yeah, so these are what we call electromagnetic connections. So this is like a powerful attraction force that brings out complementary strengths with each other. So what's really amazing when I look at both of your guys's overlay is you have a lot of electromagnetic channels. You have, let's see, you have 5 of them, which is a lot. And so I can completely and immediately understand why there is this powerful force between the two of you and why you would want to work together, right? And what's really cool when I look at the specific channels, and sorry, not to get too lost in details, but each channel belongs to a circuit. And all of the channels that you guys have as electromagnetics belong to the knowing circuit, which is all about empowerment. So you may find that when you're together, you empower each other as individuals.
Right.
Yes,
which
we
is
do.
which is really cool because actually your individual channels are parts of different circuits. So Louisa, your individual channel is part of the logical collective circuit. So this is all about refinement, mastering your craft, making it better, right? And then sharing what you know with other people. And then Cristina, your only channel is in the tribal circuit, which is all about mutual support and bargains and agreements and community and family, that kind of thing. But then the two of you together are all in the knowing circuit, which is all about self-empowerment. And so I just think that's really fascinating because all the two of you guys together kind of represent all 3 different circuits.
That's so
Yeah.
cool. I love it so much. So fun.
So fun, right? And then if I'm just going to keynote really quick some of the channels that you have together. So together, you're a powerful force here to initiate others spiritually, here to find purpose, find fulfillment and purpose in the struggle for meaning in life. Together, you can find emotional fulfillment as well. Together, you're a mutative force, right? Here to innovate and transform yourselves, but also inspire transformation in others. So, yeah, I mean, if there's ever a power couple, yeah.
So exciting. And it definitely feels, it feels like the representation of our paths colliding and our work together, what we wanted, what we've been doing, and then what we're setting out to do in the future. It feels so, it makes sense in so many ways. And it's like, it explains so much of our relationship together. This is such a powerful, everyone should have a look at this with your, important relationships in your life. Just have a look at this and see how you can, how you're meant to be together. This is amazing. It's so powerful.
So
Yeah, relationship readings are hands down my favorite kind of reading to do because it's just so beautiful and intricate to see how people
Mhm.
come together and the gifts that they bring out in each other, right? And it's just so cute. Like I just love like doing readings for people and just like celebrating their relationships. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's so amazing because I feel like, yeah, like Louisa was saying, it's like we knew the connection and like the guidance and all that brought us together, and just like how we've been working together has been so amazing. And then I feel like this just showed us why, like it showed the explanation behind that, and then also I think brings even more information for us to keep in mind of like, yeah, like what we want to, what the ideas that we had, the things that we're kind of working towards. It feels like it's adds a deeper level of momentum behind it in a way, because we're like, okay, we
Mhm.
know the energy that is working with us and that is supporting
Yeah.
that movement. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is so cool. Thank you so much for doing this for us. So amazing.
You're very welcome. Yeah, it's such a powerful system and it's so fun to explore. And there's just you can like it's like endless, right? Like we cover the basics today, but there's just it's so rich. And
Yeah.
even me working with the system for years, like I'm always discovering new things about myself as I look at my charts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
so much fun.
It's so much fun, but so practical, so interesting just to work with, like as a tool that you can incorporate in your day to day life, how you can come up with strategies to work on yourself and with others and in your relationships. This is just a fantastic system. And yeah, I am so excited that now I know a little bit more, understand it a little bit more, and yeah, just wanting to go deeper and just to use this more and more in my life. It's a great tool.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to say that I thought was really cute that the both of you share is we didn't touch on it so much today, but another aspect is your profile, your archetype. So looking at the
Mhm.
decimal places up here. And so Louisa, Cristina, you're 5-1, right? And then Louisa,
Mhm.
you're 1-3. Um, both of you guys have the one. And the one is the investigator. It's the
Mhm.
researcher. It's this natural curiosity to go deep in the rabbit hole and to really find the foundation and get to the bottom of something. And so, yeah, I just think it's cool that both of you, in a way, are discovering and researching different aspects of spirituality together.
Yeah,
So that's like
that's the
another
podcast.
shared kind of
That's
gift. Yeah.
what it is.
Right, exactly, with this work that you're doing. So, yeah, super cool.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. That's so fascinating. And thank you for bringing that. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, we both have that innate, like, let's go down the rabbit hole and let's do all the research and like really just like uncover layer after layer after layer. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. Oh my gosh, this was so incredible, so informative. Natty, thank you so much again for joining us today and for sharing all of this beautiful, rich information. Wow, my mind is just like blown away right now. So, I would love for you, as we wrap up, for you to share with our listeners where they can connect with you and, most importantly, book a reading with you, because I feel like everyone needs to receive this now. So, why don't you share with us where they can find that?
Thanks so much, Christina. Yeah, so I currently work with clients through one-on-one readings, in-person workshops, and I also do custom team experiences. If you're interested in a reading, I'm so happy to share a 35% discount to my introductory reading to human design if you use the code FRIENDS35 for the introductory reading on my website, www.growth-compass.com. Feel free to book that, and we'll do this really beautiful, intricate, in-depth exploration of what makes you unique and powerful. And yeah, so I just want to say again, thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. It was like an absolute joy and pleasure to connect with the both of you. Yeah, I felt immediate connection when I first met Louisa. So now I'm happy to also meet you, Cristina.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are doing amazing work and have a beautiful podcast. So thank you.
Thank you so much for
you.
those lovely words. And yeah, the sentiment is mutual. As soon as you immediately stood out and there was this beautiful connection. And I'm so happy that we were able to put your work in display right here. And Cristina, you're right. Everyone should get a reading. I think it's one of those things, just like when you're doing some spiritual work, you need a shaman, you need a guide, you need someone there to just help you understand and navigate this world. And there's so many tools online, and you can always do that kind of some discovery on your own, but having an expert like you to help guide and that journey and understand, it's so important. So yeah, everyone reach out to Natty. It was a joy to have you. This is such an interesting topic, and thank you so much for all the things that you shared about us individually and as a power couple. I love it so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And yeah, thanks again.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. And a quick note to our listeners, and especially those of you watching on YouTube, because that's where all the comments are. But I would love to hear from you guys, just what resonated, what your type is. Like, let's continue the conversation in the comments. So we will see you there. And Natty, thank you so much again. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.